We've talked about loads and loads before on these kind of special waters at these fisheries all up and down the country. The silvers often get overlooked, and obviously the skimmers and the bream, that's what we're looking at targeting. Hey, they weren't wrong in that blooming down there when they said how good it was on Stacey's. Especially on flipping cold days like this as well. You can put a really, really good weight of fish in your net in a short space of time. Just amazing, isn't it? That's the beauty of them little pellets. You don't half have a quick response to them when it's fish like this. It's that size fish that you're missing out on natural baits. Yeah, them are the ones that you want to be catching nice and quick, and it's that quick fix. And look where you're hooking them as well. Every single one's in that top lip. Hello everyone, and welcome to the beautiful border fisheries on Stacey's Lake. Massive happy new year to each and every one of you. We are, what are we, middle of January. It is absolutely freezing cold, obviously pouring down with rain, but I've come out to do another in one, this time on cold water pellet tactics. You know, pellets are a fantastic bait. Obviously they will catch absolutely everything swimming, but this time of year when you want to be a little bit more selective, you know, targeting sort of like the skimmers, maybe the odd carp, F1s, things like that, crucians, tench, because they do feed in the winter when it's proper cold. Pellets are a great bait. Obviously you've got your all-round baits such as your maggots, your pinkies, your worms, things like that, but the beauty of pellets, it can give you a very, very quick response quite often. It might not necessarily be something that you stick with all day. You might have to change baits. You know, obviously I'm just going to showcase the pellets today, but should have been a match or pleasure fishing, I would 100% have natural baits on the go somewhere else. So the first thing I want to do though, I'm going to do things a little bit different this time, because I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get a bite, because I've not, the first time I fished this lake was when it first opened, way back in, I'm going to say like 2000, 2001 or something. I actually did a feature on here for Anglers Mail, and there was all massive big carp in. There is still some flipping huge carp in. I believe there's like a 32 pounder in here. We don't want to be hooking that on 09 bottoms, folks, but there's some massive carp in. But again, as we've talked about loads and loads before on these kind of special waters at these fisheries all up and down the country, the silvers often get overlooked, and obviously the skimmers and the bream, that's what we're looking at targeting. So first things first, let's go through bait. So what we've got is obviously the good old faithful Super Crush Expander. I won't go anywhere without this ground bait this time of year when I'm fishing pellets. It is absolutely amazing. All I've done, I've mixed half a pint dry to half a pint of water, and I've got that a result. In fact, I've got even more than that. So it's just over a pint of ground bait in there. Put that through a riddle. You don't really need to riddle Super Crush ground bait because it just fluffs out lovely. Breaks up before it gets to the bottom. So that's going to be my initial feed with a few micros, which I'll show you in a sec. But my hook baits are these 2mm Pro Expanders. Absolutely adore these. Brilliant for sort of like them little skimmers, but also they will catch you the big skimmers, or catch you little F1s, little carps, all kinds of things. You will catch a lot of fish in them. Preparation wise, as I always do, I just put them in a little babby bag. Did these the night before, a little bit of water on them, put them in the fridge, got them out this morning. I've just made a little hole in there just so I can just nick a few in. I'm only going to put sort of like, what, 20 odd in at a time in my little tub of water. And I've also got, just in case it's really good and I'm getting tiny fish, I want to catch some bigger fish, I've got some 4mm Pro Expanders done exactly the same way as well. And then the only other bait I've got is my micros. So my micros, I should have done these either this morning when I got up or last night, but I forgot. So, I mean, they're still, don't get me wrong, they're still fluffing out, they're still perfect. In fact, I'm going to get an expander and put it in there so you can see. Can Jakey get in on that one there? Where is it? Where's he rolled to? He's sticking to my finger. Can you get in on that one there, Jakey? Of course he can, but look at the difference of that. A little tiny bit bigger than the actual 2mm Thin Perfect micros that I'm feeding. If I'd have done these properly last night, folks, like I should have done, wasn't drinking by the way, then obviously these would have fluffed up and they'd have been exactly the same size. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back and do the rig in a set, but I'm going to do my feeding first. I think it'll take a little bit of time to get some fish going. So first thing I'm going to do is just get a little tiny nugget of Super Crush. That's it. Just give it a little squeeze like that. Now the beauty of that Super Crush, as I've already explained, that'll start breaking up sort of halfway down. It's like, it's about 6 foot actually, so it's a lovely depth here. So that'll start breaking up, I'd imagine sort of 2-3 foot, and then there'll be a nice little pile on the bottom. So that goes in completely neat, and I'm just going to get hardly any micros. What's there? Sort of like 25 to 30 micros, that's all that's going in. Don't want to put loads of bait in because it's freezing, folks. This lake had well, all lakes had a lid on them. Like last week, you know, 2 or 3 inches of ice. I'd imagine the water would only be sort of 4 degrees, 5 degrees, maybe something like that. It's proper cold, gin clear. So I want to give myself the best chance of catching whilst we are going, because obviously it's an in one. Now the reason, obviously, I've chosen where I'm fishing. I've got lovely white water, so I can fish a nice black tip float on, which is absolutely perfect for reading all the little dinky bites and all that I expect. I'm fishing 13 metres as well. That's going to be a minimum starting point, simply because that's where I've got the depth of water. So there's my marker, and I've got a tree on the far bank, and then I'm just gonna put that bait in like that. What I'll probably do when I do go to fish, after I've talked through the rig, I'm probably not even going to feed. I'm going to see if there's a fish waiting for me on that. But that's why I've chosen that distance out, 13 metres, because of the bankside disturbance. And I've got a nice depth of water out there. It shelves off sort of like 8 or 9 metres. It just starts going out nice and gradual, but close in the edges, it's proper clear, like gin clear. Right, so let's come on to rigs next. Dead simple, just doing a one rig does all today. Obviously, again, if I was fishing with other baits, such as maggots, things like that, I would have another rig. I'd have a much lighter rig, you know, for fishing sort of through the water, holding tight lines and that. But as it is for this kind of pellet fishing, which, as I said at the top of this, it can be quite selective, but it's what you want for a quick fix sometimes. If you know you're fishing for skimmers, a lot of skimmers, little stockies, things like that, they adore these little pellets. They often won't eat natural bait sometimes, but obviously for the lights, if there's a lot of roach in the venue, you know, your rudd, your eyed, chub, things like that, that's when the natural baits are going to come into play. But as I said, for this purpose today, little pellets rule the roost. So elastic choice, 6's elastic. I don't know what the response is going to be. You know, we might get into some big bream, might get into like some big stocky carp, I don't know, so that could change. But my initial thoughts, if it is skimmers, you know, hand-sized skimmers up to sort of 2 or 3 pound bream, 6's elastic is my go-to for all that style of fishing. 6's slip, it just ticks every single box for me. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. But if I start getting into these bigger fish, then I might have to go to an 8's or even you know, like an 11's maybe, and change my hook length. Who knows? I haven't got a clue. I'm flipping, I can't wait for this, because I've literally not got a clue what I'm going to catch. Next thing is mainline. I am using, as always, AccuPower, but in a 0.14 diameter. Because I'm going to use them really light hook lengths, I'm not going to go above a 0.10. I'm starting off really light to start with. I'll just go through in a sec. But 0.14 mainline, absolutely bang on for this time of year. And I've got a good, what's that, sort of 2 foot maybe, between pole tip and float. Even though we've got a nice depth, 6 foot, it's proper calm, you know what I mean? And it's gin clear, so I just want to give myself the best option of bringing my pole tip, or get my pole tip away from being directly over my float, because it still could sometimes spook them, you know what I mean? It might not do in that depth, but it's a confidence thing for me. I do like to have a long bit of line this time of year. Back shots as always, folks, are 2 number 8s, 6 inches above my float, and the float in question is a 414's F1 fine. Now, the reason I've gone with an F1 fine is because of the bristle. Yeah, it's still flipping freezing. 1.2mm bristle. You know, if you've got 1mm, at 100% I'd recommend going for them, but 1.2 rather than going for something like your F1 pellet or F1 maggot, which is a 1.5mm bristle. There's a little bit too much resistance there on what I think is going to be a hard day, so you just want to, again, give yourself the best option. We just want a few bites, that's all we want. So that's that float. I've just got a tiny number 12 stop under the float, just to really dot that float down. And plumbing up wise, I plumbed up to sort of, like I always do, the bottom of the body there. It's nice and calm today, not much wind, so I just plumbed up to the bottom of the body. And the bites, I'm expecting the bites to be absolutely horrendous. So with the arc and play around with that, I can come a little bit shallower, or if they start scouring that bottom out. Now the bottom doesn't seem to be that silty, to be fair. It seems pretty hard, so we'll see what happens with that. And then coming all the way down the rig, until we get to our shots. Let me just bring that hook that side so you can see what depth I've got the shots at. So we're just over 6 foot, and there you can see the last of my shot. So I've got, I think, 8 number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 number 9s on this, and a tiny little trimmer shot there. So 18 inches, and you can see I've just got a nice tapered shotting pattern. Yeah, all the way down to my hook length. So it's a 4-inch hook length, which, you know, it's so important for seeing these bites, certainly off them skimmers. And we are on 0.9 AccuPower to my favourite winter hooks in the world, folks. XFSB. I always forget the blooming name of it. I always say XFS, SF, but it's XFS. So I have actually tied some of these up, folks. So 18s and 16s onto 0.9. I have done some 08s as well, just in case. I know most of you are like, oh wait, Andrew, what are you doing? That is too light. But it's all about getting bites in the first place for me, yeah? So starting off your session and just giving yourself the best chance of getting a bite. So that's why I've gone on to them 18s. I've got some 16s on just in case, you know, it's good fishing. I can change hook lengths, put a 16s on, and then go for like a 4mm pellet to 010. But coming back to the shots, let me just put them hooks in there so they don't get plumbing, so they don't get wet. Coming back to the shots, the reason I've gone for tapered is just I want to get the job done, get down there nice and quick. But in particular, the weight of the shots, number 9s, it's so I can see them bites. Number 10s or 11s just won't cut it for this style of fishing. You're just not going to see the bites quick enough. If anything, I might after take that shot off there and put a stot on my line, number 9 stot, just so I can see them bites a lot quicker. Hopefully they'll be all right, but I ain't got a clue what the response is going to be. And that's it. You know, there's nothing complicated with it. The only thing I've not done is put a little babby pot on, which I'm going to do. Where's my pot? There we go. So the smallest Preston toss pot, put one of them on, or like a little fruit shoot pot or something like that, because you don't want to be putting too much bait in. Yeah, that pot, if I was to fill that pot up, there's miles too much bait in that for me. So what I'll do, when I am making a little ball, I'll just literally just get my little tiny ball like that, put that in and just squeeze it in so it doesn't fall out. But I'm not going to put anything in for now. I'm just going to see what the response is. So it's on with, I'm going to put my hood up. Water everywhere. I'm going to put my hood up. Flipping horrible, folks, isn't it? At least it's not snowing now, but it's not very warm. I have lubricated my elastic as well. I put some Preston lubricant on it. So just get a little pellet, and I'll show you how I've hooked these. So little 18s hook, roll it all the way down the barrel, and just mould that pellet onto the hook. If Jakey can get in on that, you'll be able to see. You know that on my fingernail, Jakey, on my thumbnail rather. Yeah, so you can see what I've done. I've found the barrel, so the grain of the pellet obviously is running. Let me just steady that up a bit. It's running that way, so move your pellet round to the side, hook right into the middle or on the barrel, and just roll that round. Now, the thing that I always struggle with this kind of delicate pellet fishing, folks, is striking. I always strike too hard because I do like setting the hook. So you'll see when I do got a strike, if I remember, it'll literally just be a little lift up and then I'll drop it again, and that pellet, that'll stay on. Yeah, the Pro Expander pellets are flipping brilliant in that they're, you know, they're quite rubbery, and they'll stay on really well. But obviously they'll come straight the way through that hook when the fish has got it proper. So let's go out and see what happens. Just before I do though, I just want to cover that that ground bait and pellets up. So I'm just going to use a towel just to cover that up so they don't get too wet. Right, let's go out and see what's happening. Now the wind is slightly off my back, over my left shoulder. Now that'll determine how I lay the rig in. I'm not going to lay it downwind for now, so I want everything nice and tight. So I'm going to lay it to the side. I've got my marker, I've got my little babby extension on as well, folks. Simply because I'm expecting, certainly skimmers, they will back off the feed. So you can see I'm holding that float out and then just dropping it like that. Then what will happen is that wind will blow that float back nice and tight around to the right. So you can see how dotted, oh, is that a little dink then? Oh, that was worth a lift then. I thought it was a little dink. There are some crayfish in here, folks, so I might have trouble with them. I don't know. As I say, I've not fished it since they had carp in, but it has been fishing really well. There's been a lot of silver showing, a lot of skimmers showing in particular. So it'd be nice to catch some of them. Now what I do like doing, certainly with pellets, and obviously with skimmers, they do like a lift and a drop. So what I'll do is give them a little tiny lift and drops. Might be that I need to go a little bit further. Might need to get another extension out, go to 14 metres, maybe 6. Oh, here we go. Please don't be a crayfish. Bloody hell, that didn't take long, folks, did it? And I did strike a bit hard, I do apologise. I wonder if that's a crayfish, like kiting to the right. Oh no, it's a skimmer. Go on, the poppadoms. And that's what you can expect, yeah? So I did that in real time, folks. Put that bait in, let it settle, not fed again. It's just amazing, isn't it? That's the beauty of them little pellets. You don't half have a quick response to them when it's fish like this. Fish like these slimy poppadoms. Look at them, they are absolutely stunning, freezing cold ice cube, but weight builders. And look where he's hooked. What we're saying, 9 out of 10 for him, folks. But them, what's that? He's sort of 6 ounce him. 6 ounce him, proper. And them the kind of fish that, you know, if you get so overlooked, or I'm not going to say fishing the wrong bait for them, but you'll be amazed, like fishing natural baits, which of course they eat. But this time of year, all through summer, when people look, because it's a special lake, all through summer people are coming on with the fish meal based products, the pellets, the ground baits, things like that. That's pretty much all they see. So they're so used to it, so in tune with pellets. If you're not fishing pellets, you'll miss out on them. If I'd have gone down the natural route then, I could have been sat there for ages and not catching anything. Obviously, like the perch and things like that, the roach, you'll catch on them. But it's fish like them skimmers, them weight builders, that's what you want. Right, he's done a proper job on me here, getting on that, Jakey. That's what you can expect with, I mean, all sort of slimy fish, but in particular skimmers, they don't half jizz your line up. So what you've got to do is hold it under tension and just dink that slime off. You must get all that slime off. If you don't, I'm not going to say what happens if you don't, folks, but it's nowhere near as good if you don't get it off. That can be the only trouble sometimes. You're catching that many skimmers that it can cut into your fish catching time. But, well, that was a good start, wasn't it? Jakey's already given me the eye. Because, I don't know if you know this, folks, but Jakey's the reigning Winning Ways Winter Classic champion, aren't you, Jakey, from the old Special Lake? So he's already given me the eye. Right, so you'll notice I'm not feeding again. That little tiny pile of bait that I put in before, that'll last for ages and ages. So again, get on my marker. Now what I can do for a quicker fall this time is bring that float over, so my shots are over where I'm fishing, and just drop that float in so I'm straight down. But what I do like to do, like I've done last time, is hold that float out and lower it down gently. But we'll just see what the response is first. It might be that, you know, an even more positive rig would work better, like a 416s, you know, with number 8 droppers, a bulk and a couple of 8 droppers or something like that. That could, oh my days, folks, what is going on? This is amazing. Hey, they weren't wrong in that blooming down there when they said how good it was on Stacey's. Oh well. Right, come on, Jakey, let's get our Winter Classic on here. Need a match on here. But you can see just that one little tiny marble of bait and a few micros. Yeah. It's that size fish that you're missing out on natural baits. Yeah. Them are the ones that you want to be catching nice and quick, and it's that quick fix. And look where you're hooking them as well. Every single one's in that top lip. It's just, it's so good. I mean, them bites have been really quick. Remember me when we had that first go in? I thought he had a bite almost straight away. I'm now convinced it was a bite. I'm going to wait. If I don't get a bite within sort of, you know, a couple of minutes, then that's telling me that I need to feed. I don't want to put loads and loads of bait in all the time. I know it goes against everything that I've always done before, but there's ways and means, certainly with this skimmer fishing. So a little bit quicker that time, wasn't it? Laying that rig out and then flopping that float over. So I'm convinced now, I didn't realise it'd be this flipping good, folks. I'm convinced now an even heavier rig would be better, like a 416s. Straight down there, nice and positive, no messing. But you can see why you've got to dot that float down. It's so important. But I say even like finer bristle floats, like 1 mil, it will 100% make a massive difference. So the thing to watch for now is obviously we've had them 2 real quick, let's give that a little movement, real quick bites, real quick skimmers, is when to put some bait in. I'll just give it a little move. Oh, see this is where I struggle now. So the likes of Jay is really flipping good, and Richard, the CEO, they'd literally just lift the float up no more than a foot and drop it down, whereas I've lifted my rig out, checked my pellet still on, even though I know it's going to still be on. It does take a while to get used to it. I promise I'll get there though, folks. I will, I promise. I'll do it this time. All you need is a tiny lift, because the skimmers' mouths are so soft, the hooks are super sharp, and obviously that elastic's going to set the hook. Don't need to strike hard. But that's the important thing, like how dotted I've got that float. I'm just going to lift and drop that and bring that shot out to the side. Them back shots, you can see the back shots are just above the water. I'm just waiting for a little dink like that, yeah? Oh, he fell off because I didn't give it enough. If I'd have given it me normal bigger, and they'd have blooming stayed on, money. Right, I'm almost glad that's happened now, because it just goes to blooming prove that you got to give it bigger. But no, joking apart, that would have set the hook. It felt a little bit better fish though. I think it was still a skimmer, but what I will do 100% now is feed again, because that's one of the worst things in fishing, is bumping a skimmer in amongst other fish. So I'm just going to put a few micros in, and I'm just going to tiny little bit of crush again. That's literally all I'm doing. So I've got like me 15 to 20 micros in, tiny bit of super crush over the top, and just hold that in place. That's all I'm going to put in. That bait, flipping out, that'll last you about 5 or 6 sessions. I have got a bit giddy with that. And just take your time when you're shipping out. Now that pot is 4 or 5 inches back on my pole tip. So I'm going to get on my marker, which is the joint on my middle leg on my box, which is there, and I'm going to feed it from there. Even though it's a little bit short, with skimmer fishing, that don't bother me at all, because them skimmers will back off your feed. You can probably see that cloud going in there if Jakey zooms in. You see how blooming clear it is. It's not putting them fish off. And just getting positioned again. It's such an effective way of fishing. Really good. All you've got to be wary of them skimmers is, see, little tiny lift and drop again. All you've got to be wary of them skimmers is they will start backing off. You can have a good run here, you know, sometimes up to an hour, maybe a little bit longer, right on your feed, and then almost like flick of a switch, they'll start backing off. But it's a real quick fix. Fishing them little babby pellets with the super crush and the 2mm micros, it's just a quick fix. You're straight into fish, no messing at all. So what would be going through my head now if I was like, well, I know I'm pleasure fishing, if I was in a match I'd be thinking my rig's not heavy enough, I'm not getting down there. Well, I'll have that on the drop. I was going to say that was a little bit high then, so well, that's no good, is it? My pellet's still on, but Daddy May's always told me to come back and check your bait. I think that was over her back then. I think that was over a fish's back. Yeah, it's got a little bit of slime on the hook and around it. That one in the mouth, that one, folks. So you can see I probably didn't need to feed what I've just fed again, because I've potentially brought too many fish in. So I'm just going to go a little tiny bit further out than where I've been fishing. Not much, you know, sort of like a few inches, sort of 6 or 8 inches, just a little bit further past where I put that feed, because there's flipping loads of fish down there. So go to about there, that's a little bit further past it, and hopefully that'll sort that out. When the venues are really silty, you'll see obviously the fish sort of like blowing, fizzing, things like that. When it's really silty, they don't half give themselves away. But I wasn't getting that when I was plumbing up. It was just plumbing up nice and hard, really. I wasn't getting any silt at all. I mean, look at that, that just looks lovely. Fish has only got to slightly touch that, and you're seeing them bites. The fish that we've had, obviously, they've both been in the top lip. I'm just going to move that round there a bit, just off my marker a little bit there. Both been in the top lip, and then we've bumped one that was in the mouth, and then we've just lost one that was definitely far looked. When I went to move, there we go. There we go, little tiny bite. So a little bit further past, and then we've got a nice little tiny dink. Oh, it's so good, isn't it? I just adore this style of fishing, especially on flipping cold days like this as well. You can put a really good weight of fish in your net in a short space of time. They're all like flipping ice cubes as well. So again, I'm still not going to feed. I'm convinced that I'd still be catching on that first feed, because obviously I don't get anyone else here, no one's competing for the fish. But if I was in a match, just play it by ear. I mean, it's something I'd always do. Let me take my hood off, being a bit rude, aren't I? It's something I'd always do. If I did bump a fish, I'd always go to feed again, certainly with skimmers. So I'm going to go that little bit further past my bait again. Bring that float round as the shots are over, flop the float on and just wait for them shots to catch up, which you have done now. Make sure I'm on my marker, and there we go, and just wait for the bite. How quick the bites are going, I'm not having to do much lifting and dropping at the minute, but as time, it's just flipping amazing, isn't it? As time goes on, lifting and dropping will definitely come into it. How good is this, folks? Freezing cold. What's a pound, £2 at the absolute most worth of bait, and we're getting a bite every single chuck. And you'd never ever come off these. Look at the size of these. So if I knew there were loads of these in, or even bigger, which there's some monsters in here, then what I'd probably do is start introducing or start trying a few 4mm. But you'd be amazed, like them kind of fish, if you were to fish like your natural baits, it might still be that you've not had a bite yet. It's crazy, it really is. He's come through his blooming lip, he has. It's just mad sometimes, the effectiveness of these pellets as opposed to natural baits, when it's the right kind of fish. And by that I mean these, yeah, little skimmers. So look how lightly hooked that is. That is why, you know, when we're doing all our Q&As, folks, why we say the importance of using real fine elastics. That's why. If that was on a slightly heavier elastic, even a little lift like that, would have bumped that fish off, them kind of fish. What else can we just keep going catching fish, folks. That was, as in ones go, I think that was like probably one of the best in ones that I can remember doing. In fact, all the in ones are pretty good, aren't they? But I've absolutely adored that. I'm gonna carry on for like hours, you know, a couple of hours now. Things to watch for. Just keep going until you go. I mean, we haven't gone more than what, 30-40 seconds without a bite. When that changes, so I'm talking 2 or 3 minutes, when it's skimmer fishing like that and you know it's good, them fish are eating, you know it's good. When that changes, that's when you can start putting that bait in. Yeah, I topped up after we bumped that fish, if you remember. That was the wrong thing to do. But you learn that as you're going in fishing, if that makes sense. I've only put bait in because experience tells me as soon as you bump a fish in a shoal of fish, them fish spook. So that's why I put that bait in, but we knew it wasn't right. We knew it wasn't right because we've gone back in, we've lost one, and then we put one over the back, far looked it, and then we're having a few little funny bites. So I went that much further. So this is my marker, but obviously on that other leg, yeah, I've gone sort of like to there. So what's that, 6 inches past where I put that bait, and it's like a flick of a switch again. So you've got to be careful sometimes. Obviously, match conditions, if I'd bump another one, I'd go straight back in and try and catch fish again. And then if I go 2 or 3 minutes without a bite, that's telling me that I have got to top up again. So just let the fish tell you. You've seen how much bait we've fed. Hardly anything. Like, can all fit in there. Literally 2 little tiny nuggets, like marble size, if anything, little bits of ground bait. And obviously the micros as well. Once them micros, each individual little food gets into the bottom of the lake bed or silt or anything like that, it'll keep them fish mooching for ages. And then what happens is, draws other fish in, and you just have the best day ever. I absolutely adore this style of fishing. It's often overlooked, don't get me wrong, because obviously as soon as people hear the word silvers, skimmers, roach and things like that, but skimmers are like, right, ground bait, dead maggots, dead pinkies, worms, that's it. It might be that I've still not had a bite fishing that way today. I'm not going to say you won't catch later on with it, and on some venues, you know, it can work particularly well, but especially on special kind of lakes where all the fish see is fish meal, you've seen it, you can't beat it. You can't catch quicker than that fishing like your natural baits. And then the other thing with natural baits as well is obviously these little tiny things, little tiny roach and that. If you're just being a little bit more patient with your pellets, because it is selective, then it's just going to stand out like a sore thumb, that you're going to catch more fish than other people. But that's been amazing. Don't forget, add sections. Now, a brilliant bit of advice that Jay taught me years ago was plumb up your lines before the start of the match. And what I mean by that is, obviously I'm starting off at 13 metres today, but if I was in a match, I'd have got my 14.5, my 16 metre section out and made sure I plumbed up past where I'm fishing, because if you start to do it during the match, you could potentially spook them fish. I know it sounds daft, because obviously the fish are used to, you know, that bit of noise going in and this, that and the other, but this time of year when it's like proper desperate, although it's not looked at today because it's been solid, but when it's potentially desperate, plumb your lines up before the start of the match, and then you know, mark it off on your top kit, then you know to put that float to that depth rather than miss going in, spooking the fish when you do go and plumb up. But that's the main thing to bear in mind, and then just chase them out. Once they've been at that distance, it's very rare to come back to it. So my next move would have been 14.5, start catching a few, feed in there, then potentially 16, and then that's when, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours of the match is gone. You can come back to your short line when that line starts to go, where you've been feeding your maggots or your casters, and carry on catching there. That's usually how you work it on these kind of venues, but that's been amazing. Jake is giving me the eye already. As I said before, folks, he wants to go, so I'm going to go and get a brew. But I hope you enjoyed that, folks. I flipping love that. As always, please, please, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification button, and that's going to tell you when we're putting out these fantastic videos. Hey, go on, the skimmers.